Hi grade 5s, welcome to another recorded math lesson. Today's title is Sorting Shapes. Our learning intentions and success criteria are: I am learning to describe and analyze 3D and 2D shapes and analyze the relationships between them so that I can differentiate between shapes. I'll know I've got it when I can sort various shapes. Okay, so for today's lesson, basically I'm just going to be going through and reviewing several definitions with you that we've covered throughout the year, some very recently and some earlier on in the year. And then in a separate video, I'm going to explain how to do today's task. Okay, so let's start with concave. Okay, so a concave shape is any shape that has a dip in it like this, and I like to remember it as concave, like a cave. Okay, and so here's a little cave, here's a little cave right here. Okay, so the shape of a moon, for example, has a little cave right there. Okay, so that is concave. I'll just erase everything in between. Okay, next we want to talk about convex. Now convex is the opposite of concave. So convex is any shape that has a lump coming out like this. Okay, sorry if you can hear my dog in the background. She's just outside, very excited. Okay, so if we're talking about the moon shape again, the moon shape is also a convex shape because it has a little bump right here, just like this shape has the bumps going out like that. And like a circle, for example, is convex all the way around. Okay, next one, moving on, would be symmetrical. So we've covered this one quite recently. And as you know, a symmetrical shape is any shape that, when folded in half, would produce the same, or wouldn't produce, but would match up. So if I have this piece of paper right here and I fold it down the center like this, then it would all match up. All the edges, all the corners, everything would match up, and that means that it is symmetrical. So other symmetrical shapes would be a heart, like that, even maybe an equilateral triangle, like that. And obviously I'm just drawing these freehand, and so they're not coming out perfect, but you can kind of get the idea behind what I'm trying to show you here, okay? Lots of shapes are symmetrical. People in society tend to really like symmetry, and so you see it a lot in your everyday life. Okay, so that would be symmetry. Okay, next we're going to talk about parallelograms, which we just learned about yesterday. So a parallelogram is any quadrilateral with two sets of parallel sides. Okay, so examples would be squares, rectangles. I'll even show you what they look like. Well, we know squares look like this, rectangles look like this, and like the standard parallelogram shape looks like that. Also, if it is all four sides the same, then we call it a rhombus. So all four of these shapes are parallelograms. Okay, just erase those. And then we also now have a trapezoid, which is any quadrilateral that has only one set of parallel lines. So I'll show you one of those, and it would look like this. Okay, trapezoids sometimes also have a 90-degree angle here, but an angle on the other side. Okay, so we'll just erase that. All right, next we have a square. Hopefully you all know what a square looks like. And a square is a very, very specific shape. Okay, it has to be a four-sided shape, so it has to be a quadrilateral with all four sides the same length, and it has to be all four right angles. Okay, so our right angles often look like a little square in the corner there, okay? And if you ever need to check if something is a right angle, I like to take a piece of paper, like a regular standard piece of paper, and line up the corner with the corner that you're trying to test. And if they line up perfectly, it's a 90-degree angle. But if the corner that you're testing is a little bit too small, it's not a 90-degree angle, and if it's a little bit too big, it's not a 90-degree angle. Okay? So There we go. Okay, again, rectangle, I've already showed you that even in this video, but I'll show you again. A rectangle is kind of an elongated square, okay? So it has 4 right angles, it has 2 sets of parallel lines, but it is a shape that has only, or it has 2 sides the same length and the other 2 sides are the same length, okay? Perpendicular lines, as you know, are any lines that meet at a 90-degree angle, okay? So often you will see your little square in the corner like that with perpendicular lines. Now, the perpendicular line can keep going like this, or it can just stop when it meets the line. Either way, it's perpendicular, okay? All right, awesome. Curved lines, any lines that aren't straight, okay? So anything like that would be just fine. All right, a right angle, okay, as I mentioned earlier, is an angle that meets at 90 degrees, okay? So if we're talking about lines here, okay, I see 4 right angles here, okay? I see one right here, I see one right here, I see one right here, and I see one right here, okay? So those 4 corners are all right angles, okay? If I were to draw a square, again, all 4 of these are right angles. They're at 90 degrees, so they're square angles, okay? And that's called a right angle. Okay, an acute angle is any angle that is smaller than 90 degrees. So if we pull up a triangle here, okay, on this triangle you'll see that we actually have a right angle right here, but then we have 2 angles that are smaller. And if you want to test it out, do the trick that I mentioned where you take a piece of paper and line it up to that corner and see if it's bigger, smaller, or the same as the piece of paper, okay? Okay, and last but not least, an obtuse angle is any angle that is larger than 90 degrees. It's bigger than a right angle. Okay, so let me see if I can find a triangle to look at that. There we go. Okay, so this triangle right here has 2 acute angles right here, and it also has an obtuse angle right here. This angle is bigger than 90 degrees. If it were 90 degrees, the line would be right about there, okay? All right, and then I just wanted to give you a little trick to differentiate between acute and obtuse angles. I like to think of acute angles as being, oh, a cute little angle, and obtuse angles are kind of like the word obese, which means fat, right? Okay, so hopefully that all made sense. So your worksheet's called Draw and Sort. I'm going to make a separate instruction video for the worksheet, for the activity, so look for that. It'll be on Google Classroom, and it is all due tomorrow.